Hello everybody, and welcome back to another Path of Exile tutorial video. Today, kind of a double header. We have two things to talk about. One will be in this first video, the second will be in a companion video that will be released sometime after this one. First and foremost, we're going to talk about settlers. Yes, those of you who played last league know that settlers dragged on and on and on, because PoE 2, but that's okay. With the new 3.26 that we got about a month ago, they permanently made Kingsmarch a feature, while also simultaneously reworking how it works, the ores, the crops, everything. Now, with these changes, they have made it more difficult to get crops per hour in order to send out via shipment to the very different ports, such as Calgar, Teanui, the rest of them. These shipments, depending on where you send them, will reward you with different rewards. As mentioned in one of my previous videos, if you send an item to a Calguran port, for example Ribbonfell, Pondium, or Calgar itself, when this returns, you will receive currency items, scarabs, things of that nature, depending on what you send, with a chance of also getting a rune graft. The rune graft replaces the old rune smithing system, sadly, but we are not going to be talking about runes at all in this video, other than you get it from these three ports. Instead, we are going to go more in depth on tattoos. Tattoos you get specifically from either Nakanu or Teanui. These are, of course, the Karui ports. Now, what is known about tattoos is, unlike with the currencies, when you prepare a shipment to send, the amount of dust that you send with that shipment has no bearing whatsoever on the rewards that you are given. So, only the shipment value of the either crops, bars, or ores matter. How can we take advantage of this? Well, with the new 3.26, several tree changes have been made. For starters, the settlers of Calgar have come on the tree, replacing some old nodes that used to exist. This has necessitated a few nerfs to other content, but we are not going to touch on that really here, except for harvest. Most notably, you have the new nodes Lost in Transit. 6% chance for an ore deposit in your map to become a lost shipment instead. Now, I have played with the lost shipments a few times, and I have gotten rune grafts, a couple tattoos. Really, though, it's a good jackpot chance you could get something really valuable, but for my strategy that I'm doing right now, this is actually a detriment, and you do not want to take it. Instead, you want to make sure that you are taking just about all of the Calguran nodes. You want the chance for your maps to contain ore deposits to be 100%. You want all the increased amount of ore in your maps. You want the chance for your map to drop double ore, which is over here, or 50% chance to contain 2 ore deposits. This works even if you are using scarabs. So, for example, when a map rolls, first it determines if you're going to have a Calguran ore. We have 100%, so the answer is yes. Then it determines, is there going to be 2 ore deposits? 50-50, yes or no. So we'll just say, for the sake of argument, that it rolls yes again. Then it applies the scarabs. The scarabs add 1 additional one each. Now, what I don't know with certainty, but from testing I believe to be the case, is every scarab that you add that adds a deposit re-rolls this 50% chance to be 2 deposits. So you have 3 total, 1 from the Atlas tree, 1 from your first scarab, 1 from your second scarab, and then, 4 total, and then a 4th one from the map device. This is re-rolled and can result in up to 8 deposits. I know I've seen maps that have had more than 5 deposits in them, which the only way that would be possible that I'm aware of is specifically if yield upon yield works for more than just the 100% chance to have a deposit. We will have to talk to GGG and find out if that's the case or if there's something else at play, but That is, at least at the moment, the belief. Next up, ore deposits in your maps are more likely to be rare varieties. Now, this is really, really solid if and only if you are trying to do the ore farming strat and not the loot farming strat. There is another strategy that involves not taking fortune favors. Instead, you will take the Crimson Infusion, the Amber Infusion, and the Bismuth Infusion. Orichalcum is bad, just in general, and the Verisium is usually too hard for most people that don't have really powerful builds. Bismuth causes all the rare monsters in your maps when you activate it to gain extra difficulty but also extra rewards. It can be very, very nice. The Amber and the Crimson spawn tons of monsters, specifically Crimson. Crimson spawns a whole bunch of little plants around the central spire. These plants, when you take the right nodes on your tree, which let me find where they are here. Or no, sorry, it is this node. They have a chance to be guarded by an additional 2 of those plants. These plants are monster spawners. You kill one, and it kind of enrages, those of you who remember the enrage mechanic, it kind of enrages the other ones, causing them to spit out more monsters, grow bigger, also fully heals the remaining ones. These monsters that are spit out, when combined with the scarab that gives you all monsters found guarding ores are magic, which is right here, all the monsters that it spits out will be magic, meaning you will get lots of gold, and you will get lots of items, maps, currency, you name it. Because magic monsters have a very massive, like 1,000 or something percent increased modifier for the loot that they drop. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the monster rarity chart here. Give me just one moment. Let's see, that's rare, that's unique. We want magic. Here it is, magic. Okay, so here we can see monsters grant increased experience, hidden. They drop gear 1 level above their own. Of course, their own level is tied to the area level, so an item level 83 map, a magic monster could drop an item level 84 item. They have more life, 600% quantity, 200% rarity. This means more gold, but so does this. They both apply to gold. They deal more damage, give more flash charges, they won't flee, and they do a little bit more damage and have a little bit more movement speed. These don't matter as much. The important thing is they grant a ton more experience. One magic monster is equal to 3.5 normal tier monsters. Additionally, the 600% quant is really, really strong. If we look down here at rare monsters, we can see that the bonuses to quantity and rarity are even higher still. However, these bonuses are only to rares, and rare monsters spawn like 1 for every 20 or 30 magic monsters in a map. If you get a pack of magic, they'll all be magic. If you get a rare pack, only 1 or 2 of those monsters will be rare, with an exception, and that is going to be talked about here in a second. So what is that exception? Well, on your tree, you can get, or not on your tree, in your scarabs, you can get the Domination Scarab of Evolution. This, when combined with the Calgarian Scarab of Guarded Riches, makes it so that if you go and activate those monster spawner ore types, you can stand there and fight those monsters, kill them, with this shrine active and the shrine nodes on your tree, and thus the monsters have a chance to be upgraded. Normal to magic, magic to rare. This is a huge thing, because it also revives those monsters when they die. So, ostensibly, if you kill 100 monsters in your map and they're all white, a certain percentage of them will be coming back to life as magic. Kill those magic monsters while this shrine's active, and a certain percentage of those will come back as rare. Because of the monster spawners already starting all of these monsters as magic, well, you're going to get a lot of rares. So if you manipulate that with things such as the Horn Scarab of Nemesis, or Cartography of Risk, which I think I have some of those around here, you can make it so that you have monsters that have huge quantity, rarity bonuses. Combine that with something like the Scarab of the corruption here, and you're just going to drop a ton of 8 mod maps. You can combine it with conversion to make those maps Shaper, Elder, Conqueror, or synthesized maps. More on this in another video. Lots of different things that you can do to get tons of rewards. These monsters additionally, while they do not work with ritual, they do work with certain other mods, like the Horned Scarab of Tradition, causing all of your rare monsters to drop items that are then transformed. The transformed modifiers can be modifiers such as all items drop as maps instead, items drop as currencies, really a whole bunch of different things. So this is one strategy that some people are doing in order to get lots of currency, but it can be a bit of a risky strategy. Additionally, it's not the strategy that we are going to be talking about today. Today, we are going to be farming just the ores themselves by using the Sulfite Scarab, 2 Kalguran Scarabs, a Kalguran Scarab of Refinement, and then for the last slot we have the Influencing Scarab of the Horde. Now, you can replace this with the Guarded Riches one if you just want to get extra experience, extra loot, various things like that. I am not doing that here because this strategy is a speed farming strategy. What we will be doing is we will be blitzing maps, going in, killing everything on our way to the ores. We will not be killing the map boss. That's why this is best done on a map such as Jungle Valley, but I do not have them. And we will not be picking up any altars either, unless the altar specifically states Divine Orb, some sort of really valuable currency to Eldritch monsters like Grand Ichors, or it says, just generic quantity of items. So Divine Orb, quantity of items, and the Grand Ichors, things like that. Maybe if we get a chance to drop like Blight Scarab or something like that, we might consider doing that. But for this video, we are going to just showcase one map. I was going to do 5, but then I changed my script up midway through and decided to talk about that other strategy. So, on the Atlas tree, we have all of these nodes. We did not want that node. We have removed Lost in Transit. We are taking Eater of Worlds, because again, we want the increased effect of the altars. And while the Searing Exarch can be quite good, especially with the guaranteed altar, or 50-50 chance to have a guaranteed altar at the start, unfortunately, the buffs themselves from the Searing Exarch to the monsters are dangerous to our build because our build does exclusively chaos damage. So we're not doing it with Searing, but if your build can handle the Searing Exarch, you can totally do this with them instead. Additionally, when you do hit a quantity one, because of the Eldritch Gaze node, that quantity modifier will be 50% stronger. So it's kind of a pick your poison, but I personally feel that the Eater of Worlds are just better. We need to make sure we have Refiner's Bargain. This causes possessed monsters to drop 5% chance to drop their equipment as dust. This can be very nice, saves you some gold. Sulfite is converted to random ore instead at 15% of the value. This is a huge one. And the Life Force. Now, I have extensively tested doing Harvest with Scarabs that double Life Force, all kinds of stuff. There seems to be something bugged. When I kill tier 4 monsters, they should be dropping thousands of Life Force, which then will be converted into 1.5 times that amount as a random crop. This doesn't seem to be happening. It gives it to me at like 100%, but definitely not 1.5, and it doesn't seem to be working with like doubling Scarabs and stuff like that. Not sure if it's a bug, but just from experience, it's not worth it. We're taking all of these Sulfite nodes that give more Sulfite, so we have over here, this gives a chance to give it as Azurite. I don't believe this one works either, but we will see. Double Sulfite, Sulfite Guarded. Now, these Sulfite hoarding monsters, even though the Kalguran node states that any Sulfite found is dropped as ore instead, it does not affect the Sulfite gained from killing these hordes. I just have it because your Sulfite vein and chest have a 5% chance to contain double Sulfite. I have not seen if that works. If that works, then this could give you 4,000, 5,000 of a bar. Totally worth it, if it works. If it doesn't, then you can just undo this point and put it elsewhere. Packed with Energy is just generically good. We have all of the map explicit modifier nodes on our tree that give us more explicit effect. And with that, we're going to actually go ahead and pause here for a minute while I get set up. Alrighty, sorry about that. I had to go quickly take care of something else, so I decided just to pause. Yay for the pause feature, but we are back. So, as mentioned, that is our tree. It is all sulfite, map effect, quantity, and Calgurin. We also have these little points up here to have memory influence maps, but that's just a bonus. Scarabs here, they don't really matter, but we have them just in case we get something good. My tree is not 100%. As you can see, I am still missing a couple, but you can do this with even less points. You just would have to drop a few things. Like I said, guarded hordes would be a point you could drop. You could drop these scarab nodes here. That's another 4 points that you can save. I don't ever recommend removing the memory influence chance because these are just huge. I don't recommend dropping the eater influence. You can drop this center wheel here, and then also these 3 points, which don't do anything. The only reason I don't is because the 15% rarity gives me gold. I really want the gold, so it is worth it to me to sacrifice these points. But if I didn't need the gold right now, I would drop all of these points and just take the increased scarab stuff found, like these scarab points here for more from rare monsters, so like that. Additionally, you do want the pack or the scarab of the hordes. This is because influenced monsters count the Eater of Worlds monsters that spawn. So having 40% increased pack size means that those monsters will get 40% here, plus whatever per pack size you have on the map itself. Combined together, you will have huge numbers of influence monsters, and those monsters have a chance in order to drop or to spawn an altar. So you really want to make sure you have that. We are running these on 8 mod corrupted dunes maps, regular tier 16 dunes maps. You can run these on tier 17 or 16.5s. I have one right here that I might roll up and we could do after this, but I do not know if the quant multipliers, like how they influence the ores. So we've been just doing this with just straight tier 16 dunes. These are easily farmed yourself. I will cover how to do that in a separate video, which is not part of this one. But suffice to say, you can go run one 16.5 map, and you can walk away with 20 or 30 of these corrupted tier 8 mod or tier 16 8 mod maps. So with that all being said, we'll go ahead and go on in and we'll take a look. We'll just go ahead and throw this last point somewhere. Actually, we'll throw it right here, just because. Eater of Worlds, Settlers on Tree. Now, as I did mention, we will not be doing any of the content really to speak of. We will just be going in, killing stuff, running around, activating the ore nodes, picking up things like this, taking a look. I saw Divine and I was like, oh my gosh. Increased rarity, we don't care. We'll just keep going. Now, my build, as you can see, is just one that lets me run around and blow stuff up. It is a Death Aura build, so it's really nothing special. There, as you can see, I gained 1300 Petrified Amber. It dropped as a bar and not as ore. 1800 Crimson Iron. We will pick up Scarabs that drop around with us, just because. What do we get here? Nothing of value. Oop, we got 2 altars. We got a divination card reward and a rarity one. So we really didn't get anything of value as far as the altars. Here we go. Here's a quant one. We do not care about anything else. We just take the quant. Hey, that's nice. A little bit of reward. I already checked that one. Okay, so it looks like we really didn't get much in the way of our altars. This is fine. So we'll go ahead and start the first one here. I am, like I said, a Death Aura occultist, or elementalist rather. I am using a Forbidden Shaco combined with the Decay tech in order to use the Storm Orbs here to do extra damage. There are videos talking about how this works. I will probably make a video that talks about this build a little bit more in depth at another time. But it is a pretty good build overall. This guy does not want to go down. Alright, cool. He did go down. Okay, so that's 2. We can just go ahead and close this. And since we don't really care anymore, we'll go ahead and just come up here and grab all these rarity ones. Another rarity one. More gold. Another rarity one. Eldritch Minion one, because we just don't care. We'll check the Merc. Merc has nothing. Oop. And that is the risk you take when you click on all the altars. My build is a block-based build. If I don't block, I die. And I did not block, so I died. So we've done 3. This will be our 4th one. I apparently activated an abyss nearby, which I don't really care about. Okay, so we have gained quite a lot of petrified amber this map. Okay, and another 1200 crimson ore. Perfect. And that'll be it for this map. We don't have to do anything else, so we went ahead and did it. As you saw, it did not take very long, even with the deaths. But we gained 5,000 crimson iron and 5,600 petrified amber. Now, if I did not have the nodes on my tree that caused an increased chance to have crimson iron, my maps would probably not have as many of these low tier ones. But as we can see, just doing that one map that I even got unlucky on, as you saw, I only had the 4 nodes, which means that I had the 2 from the scarab, 1 from the tree, 1 from the map device. I did not hit my 50-50 for another one, and they were neither bismuth nor verisium, which are, of course, as you can see, worth more. So 1 crimson iron is worth less than 1 petrified amber, but as you may have noticed, I gained about the same amount of ore from each of these. Verisium, you can easily get 2,000 verisium from one deposit, or 1,200 verisium from one deposit. So, really huge if you can manage to get it. Now, the quant bonuses that you get from having people in your party, things like that, those do all apply to Sulfite. So, party play does make this better. Additionally, especially considering the fact that quantity, or the ores and stuff are given to all people, not just you. It could be very, very profitable to do this with friends, especially as adding more people does increase your effective DPS usually. You know, if you have someone who's giving you a bunch of aura buffs, mercenary buffs, they do high single target, maybe you can do this on a map where you go kill a boss, kill a boss first to get better altars, you name it. So that one map gave us about 200,000. This is pretty standard, I would say. From my experience, it took us, we'll just call it 5 minutes, but it wasn't really 5 minutes. And what would be the reward? What's the purpose of that? Well, we go run a bunch of those maps. Let's just say we ran, I don't know, 20 maps in an hour of those tier 16. Well, then we would come in and we would send a shipment out that has got 4 million in value. Why 4 million? Well, tattoos have a limit. You cannot get any more tattoos once your shipment value exceeds 4 million. Again, dust has no impact on this, so it does not matter how much dust you send. So once you've exceeded the 4 million mark, that's it. Done. We take that shipment and we would send it to either Ribbon or Nakanu or to Te Anui. Now, if you are sending a lot of Verisium bars, which I do not recommend you send to Nakanu, then you will get different rewards, really good rewards, by sending it to Te Anui. Te Anui has a bonus towards both Verisium and, if you have it, Orgord, or Blue Xanthinum, sorry. Sending Blue Xanthinum to Te Anui gives you a more likely chance to get Exalted Orbs, worth 20 to 30 chaos, depending on the time of the week. I usually will wind up getting between 1 and 3 Divines, and between 2 and 8 Exalted Orbs for every shipment. That is a lot of income off of blue xanthanum. Now, here we have a shipment that I sent out before I had to leave for the funeral this weekend. This was exactly 4 million in bars. It was in fact all of the bars that I had. I believe I also had to toss in just a little bit of regular crops to make it up to the 4 million amount, but basically it was all bars. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what we got for rewards. Alright, so we have 2 pages of rewards here. Now I do have a loot filter that is applying to these. So as you can see here, this is tier 2 spell suppression and some other stuff. This one has some life regen, you know. Most of it though is pretty much junk. We got a worm sign, which is kind of funny because it's not really worth anything, but it showed up on the filter. You know, bunch of stuff, right? Or a sacrifice. Cool. We're not going to pay attention to any of this. All this is going to probably just get wind up tossed in the duster. Maybe something like this would get sold, but realistically probably not. Instead, we're only going to look at this. I got 60 stack decks. These sell right now for 2.6 chaos each. In bulk, probably 3. That means this is 180 C worth of stack decks. In fact, here, we'll just go ahead and empty out our stash real fast, or our inventory real fast from the map. And actually, you know what? I will take these with me because I need them for later. Alright, so we have no other currencies, just those. Stack decks. Got 1 Exalted Orb. We did not get any Divines. We did get a Sacred Orb. I do not know what these are going for. 40C. So right here, this is a Divine Orb. Not bad. Not great, but not bad. I will go ahead and take all of the currencies because they are all worth it. Oh, and here's 9 more stack decks. Cool. So there's all the currencies. These are all of the gems that are 20 quality. Oh, here's a 20/20 power charge on crit. That's worth what? That's 80C, so that's something. You'll have to check the cheat sheet to find out what gives what rewards by being sent. I am going to go ahead and take all these. Most of them are just going to get vendored because I don't care. But getting a 20/20 uncorrupted gem can be kind of nice. Especially if you are playing in solo self-found. So we'll just go ahead and drop all these off. We'll drop off all the currencies here that we don't care about. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Holding down the wrong keys. Alright, cool. No other currencies, good. Really wish they'd move that. Alright, now finally, all we have are these tattoos. Now, I'm sure some of you have already taken a look at these tattoos and realized, there seems to be some value in there. And you would be right. So we'll come to the currency exchange, click on Chaos Orb. We won't do anything here. Instead, we will hold control and just simply click on the tattoo. So we got 2 of these fire resistance ones, right? That's 44 chaos. We got 4 of these chance to avoid bleedings. They're not worth anything. 3 physical damage. They're not worth anything at the moment. Melee hit have fortify. Nothing. Increased armor. Those are 3C each. Well, we'll go ahead and list this for 9 and sell them. Stun threshold. That's worth 3C. Sold. Stun duration. We got 2 of them. We'll just go ahead and sell it for 5C. Done. Reduced extra crits. So here's our first good one. These are 83C each. We have 2 of them. Oh, 3% maximum energy shield. That's a divine. Now for this, I don't actually have enough gold on hand, so I am going to just go ahead and yoink some from my treasury. Global accuracy rating. That is 61 chaos. Evasion rating, also 61 chaos. That's not worth anything. That's 27C. We're going to call that 3C. Now you can do it like this, where you just click up here like this, and then type, and then hit. But I don't tend to do that. Now, as you can see, we have unfortunately filled up all of our orders, so we'll just go ahead and clear out some of these. Blind enemies on hit is 4C. Cold res, not worth anything. Increased chaos damage, not worth anything. Actually, it's worth something to me because I'm going to be needing that. Mana regen, here's a good one. Avoid being stunned, 26C. Maim on hit's worth, well, actually, surprisingly, it's worth something, but we'll go ahead and just do 4 and sell them. Avoid being poisoned, that is 2C. Well, okay. And then we have life recovery, which isn't worth much. We'll call it 3C. And finally, a flask effect duration. This is only worth 4C, but I want it for my own build, so I'm not going to be selling it at this time. But we can just remember that we got an extra 4 chaos from that. So, we'll go ahead and grab all this. If we have the space, we do. That one shipment gave us 694 chaos in just pure chaos. It also gave us 69 stacked decks at whatever the ratio happens to be. It's like 200C, 198, 197. There we go. Sure. So we got another 200C on that. So we'll call it 900C total is what we got from that one shipment. 900 chaos. Now, if we just go off of the current rate of Faustus here, Divine Orbs, say I have 900, 4 Divines, give or take, just in those currencies and tattoos. It took no time. It did take a bit of gold to go vendor them, but again, I didn't collect very much gold in my map. I didn't do any blights or any kind of special harvesting, so you can easily get enough gold by doing blight strategies, 8 mod farming, 16.5s, you know, various things like that. But that is more or less the gist of it, is you just go in, you run in the maps, you collect all the ores, you get a bunch of stuff. Anything that you pick up that you don't want, you can just bring over to here and dust it for a bunch of dust. Personal opinion, if the item is not worth at least 5,000 dust per square it takes up in your duster, it's not worth it, and you may as well just drop it on the ground. Eventually it'll go away. Yeah. So, that is more or less the gist of the strategy, and how you can make a lot of money passively through Kingsmarch. Well, I say passively, but I mean semi-passively. You will often get tier 17s. You will often get tier 16.5s, especially with the strand nodes, or the memory strand nodes like I have. So it is a very profitable method, especially in this league. I'm just going to leave that in there for now. Oh, apparently I don't have any more space on the ground. And the rest of the stuff we really don't care about, so make sure there's no good. 7, yeah. I guess I don't have an Oros sacrifice, but the rest of it can all go. Oops. And that's it. That is all there is to say about going out and running these maps. If your build is a lot more expensive and powerful than mine, or, you actually like to push buttons, and I do not, then you can clear one of these maps in a lot less time than I did. You can even probably clear the boss, get yourself some T17, stuff like that. But for me, run one map, run in, blow everything up, exit, go next. Like I said, I am just a Death Aura build, a Death Oath build. I even use a weak Cane of Kulamak. So, if you have a stronger build, take advantage of it. Go do stuff. In the next video, we're going to go over something a little bit different. But thank you guys so much for watching. As always, feel free to leave any comments down below. I do read all the comments. If you have any suggestions or improvements for how to make the strategy better, all ears. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.